Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Park Mania, which is brought to you by Meeple Master. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and games generally run about 45 to 120 minutes. Together, you and your fellow players will build the greatest theme park ever. During the first phase of the game, you'll be building the park layout with roads and tracks, and each player will earn money for their contributions to the park. With the money earned, you can now buy and build your own rides and facilities. To build and operate rides though, you will need to hire employees. And depending on your game setup, a total of either 12 or 16 rides can be built. When 4 rides are built, the park will open and then you can start to visit rides. Victory points will be your key to winning the game and are gained in several ways: by building rides, visiting rides, building matching facilities within a ride area, completed areas, employees, connected train stations, action cards, and money. The first player to visit all the rides will bring the game to an end, and the player with the most victory points will win the game. So setup here is largely based on these ticket scenarios. Now, there's a couple different sides here, but in general, you go from 16 or 12 rides based on how long you want the game to be and so forth. But your marker will start on closed. The park is closed until the first 4 ride attractions have been built. Now, along this track, you'll see how many rides must be built first, and then what it costs to get into the park, and then finally what it costs to hire employees. As the park becomes larger and larger, it's going to be more expensive to get employees and so forth. So this is the main thing you're using to kind of kick off the game and set up your stacks of different tiles. And each player will get a standard set of things. You're going to get 5 move cards, a reference card, your ticket booths, which you'll use when you build different ride attractions. You've got a couple basic tiles. You've got track, you've got road, you have your train station, and you're going to get 5 coins, which equal $1 in this game. Your main meeple will be at the park entrance, ready to enter once there's enough rides built. Now the little tiny meeples, the little ones, are going to be positioned outside in the parking lot, so to say, that they're going to be used as a reference point. So when you visit rides, you'll mark it with one of those meeples, and then you'll move on to the next ride, trying to acquire all the rides and end the game. So the whole first phase of the game is all about building the park. So as you can imagine, every time you play, the park is going to look and function very differently. So you can build roads or you can build tracks. And when you take that action, you can build up to 2 roads or up to 2 tracks. And the nice thing about building tracks is that you can also put your station into play on that same turn. But when you build these things, you're going to be gaining money. So based on player count will determine how many coins you're going to get. So in a 2 to 3 player game, it's going to be 1 coin. In a 4 player game, it's going to be 2 coins for each section that you put into play. Or you might choose to hire an employee. Now, 2 of these employees are required. You need a construction worker to build the rides, and you need an operator to operate the rides. So those 2 employees are required. You got to have those for sure. And then you've got a couple optional employees. You've got a mascot and you've got security. Now, you can only ever hire 1 of each of these different types. So you'll need them in play in order to do various things and get benefits from action cards that you might acquire later. A couple other actions available to you in this first phase is buy and build a ride and facility, or just buy 2 facilities and build, obviously. So the big thing though is getting those rides. So the rides, you grab one of the big tiles, it's going to cost you $4. Flip it over, you're going to put it in play and connect it to a road where you could put your ticket booth connected to it. And then based on the ride theme, you're going to look for a tile that matches that to put into play with it. So the different types of tiles are going to be very dependent on what you're going to be putting out there and what you're going to be connecting to your ride. And as you build upon the ride and get more facilities, you're going to have them all connected. Then eventually you want to have the road encircling that particular ride and all its facilities to get you the maximum amount of points. For every facility that matches the ride icon or theme, you're going to get bonus victory points at the end of the game. So all the facilities that you're building will also cost you money, of course. The themed ones or blueprint ones that match your ride are going to cost you $2, and all the generic ones cost you $1. Generic ones are things like shops and restaurants and scenery that you can put and enhance the area around your rides as you build them around the park. And so that final action available to you is to build up to 2 facilities in and around your areas. So you'll continue this way, playing through those 5 available actions, each player doing one of them, building out the park. And then once someone builds that 4th ride and puts it into play, then the park can actually open. And it unlocks a 6th action available to all the players. And you'll be moving the marker on the scenario down to the open state. And based on how many rides are in play, we'll move that marker continually through the game. And things will just become more expensive. But now you have that 6th action where you can play cards, move around the park, and visit rides. So the basic card that you're gonna be playing is a move card, which is just a number card that's gonna be in your hand, and there'll be a whole deck of cards you'll be drawing from, and there's some action cards in here, which will be instant actions. We'll take a look at those in a minute. But let's take a look at moves. So you're gonna be moving along the trail, trying to get to one of the different types of rides, so you can say that you've been there and you rode it and so forth. So you'll see there's also cards on the main roads or trail around the park. So if you land on one of those, that just means you get to play a 2nd card. And you're just trying to get to the ride. And once you arrive there, then you're gonna be moving into the ride that will cost a movement. You move through the ticket booth and you collect the entrance fee, whatever it currently is on the scenario card. You'll collect that money from the bank. And then whoever is the owner of the ride, you're gonna have to pay them whatever their ride total is, which means facilities that are connected to it, as well as the main ride itself. You'll add up all the dollar values and pay that to the owner. Once that's done, then you'll take one of your small, tiny meeples and place it there as a marker showing you visited that ride. And as you play cards in this game, once you're done doing that on your move and trying to get to rides, you will be drawing back up to 5 cards, and you may draw some action cards. There's lots of different types of action cards. Some are special movement cards. Maybe you get a free train ride, or maybe you just can move to any shop that you so choose. Lots of different options there, but then there's some instant actions, some detrimental things also, like sinkholes and malfunctions in rides. There's also cards to help protect you from other action cards that you can hold in your hand. So once you have some of those action cards, you may be able to build them up and use them later, but if they're instant actions, you have to play them immediately, no matter where you are in the game. But I think my favorite type of action card is the one that allows you to build a free facility. Super handy, obviously, as you're trying to flesh out your ride's area, trying to enclose it and get maximum points at the end of the game. So as you move around this park, you might also try to take a train, and you can go from station to station, but you will have to pay $1 to the station owners in order to do that, or even just to cross over the station into another area of the park. So there's lots of different options how you move around, what the action cards might do, and how they might play into you getting your meeples to all the different types of rides and be the first one to ride everything in the park. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, obviously the theme here is super strong. The whole fact that you get to build out the park every time is just something I really enjoyed. And the theming of the rides and how you combine the different facilities and buildings to make out your areas the most efficient and most profitable, as well as the most complete, getting maximum points in the game is definitely key. I like that aspect for sure. And also how you can use your employees. I really like the mascot actually, because there are facilities that you can put into play that allow you to put your mascot out there, increasing their value and so forth. So it definitely adds a lot to the game. Again, super strong in the theme and the building of the aspect of the park, just really well done. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me, and until next time, we'll see you at the table.